reminder that it's midnight and you are tuning into Nightline with me, Nadia Azmi. Here are the top stories. Chemical leak at glove manufacturing factory. 22 workers rushed to hospital for treatment. And government mandates MACC's anti-corruption course in all TVET institutions. Good morning. The number of victims affected by a chemical leak at a glove manufacturing factory in Sungai Petani, Kedah has risen to 39. This follows another incident on Friday morning in which a total of 22 more workers were rushed to the hospital after experiencing breathing difficulty and vomiting believed to be due to inhaling ammonia. The incident was reported less than 24 hours after 17 workers at the same factory experienced eye irritation and headaches, with one fainting due to exposure to a sodium hypochlorite chemical spill. Sungai Petani Zone 2 Senior Operations Commander, Fire Superintendent Johari Bar Azwar said an emergency call regarding the incident was received at 10 a.m. All the affected factory workers were subsequently sent to the Sultan Abdul Halim Hospital for further treatment. A special hazardous materials or hazmat team was also dispatched to the scene to identify and remove the chemical substances involved. The cleanup operation for the chemical leak is ongoing. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC's proposal that the Integrity and Anti-Corruption course be implemented in all technical and vocational education and training TVET institutions nationwide has been mandated by the government. The mandate was finalised during the TVET Council meeting chaired by Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi on May 20th. In a statement, the MACC said it will provide the relevant instructors for modules related to the MACC Act. The MACC said the decision was made to strengthen the TVET sector in line with the requirements of the Industry 4.0 revolution, where numerous training opportunities are available to students. It added that the module is a continuous effort to produce a workforce and entrepreneurs who are against any corrupt practices in business transactions. This ensures industries supported by TVET, especially small and medium enterprises, SMEs, remain untainted and free from corruption issues. Meanwhile, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki, when contacted by TV3, said he hopes anti-corruption can also be made a subject in primary and secondary schools. He said this matter will be discussed with the Education Ministry.
Kita memang berharap kita memang nak mengusahakanlah supaya kalau sekiranya ada satu pembelajaran khas di sekolah-sekolah tentang subjek mengenai anti rasuah ni, tapi belum dapat kita tamatkan lagi. Ini kita kena buat libat urus dengan Kementerian Pendidikan kerana dia melibatkan kepakaran pihak sebelah sana dalam macam mana kita nak wujudkan pendidikan pelajaran khas di sekolah-sekolah baik rendah ataupun menengah.
The Election Commission EC has fixed August 17th for the Niri by-election. Its chairman, Datuk Seri Ramlan Harun, said the nomination of candidates would be held on August 3rd, while early voting is set for August 13th. Ramlan said the application process for all categories of postal votes, both domestic and overseas, have been opened online starting Friday.
Daftar pemilih pilihan raya bagi PRK Dewan Negeri N43 Negeri Kelantan ini mengandungi seramai 20,259 orang pemilih. PRK Dewan Negeri N43 Negeri Kelantan memerlukan peruntukan sebanyak RM1.6 juta.
The Niri by-election will have 20 regular polling centres with 46 voting streams and 1 early voting centre. The election was called after the Kelantan State Assembly declared the seat vacant on June 19th. This was following the former State Assemblyman Muhammad Aziz Abu Naim's cessation of his membership in Parti Peribumi Bersatu Malaysia, relayed through an official notice to him on June 13th. Meanwhile, former Niri Assemblyman Muhammad Aziz Abu Naim said he accepts the decision of the Kuala Lumpur High Court on Thursday, which rejected the interim injunction to halt the by-election until his originating summons is decided. According to Aziz, he understands the duties of the EC and cannot prevent the Commission as it has a specific time frame after receiving notice from any speaker. However, he clarified that he still has other alternatives. This is because his lawyer had filed an affidavit on Wednesday to nullify the letter from the Kelantan State Assembly Speaker to the EC stating that the Niri seat is vacant and to suspend its implementation. The hearing for the affidavit application is scheduled to begin on August 28. His lawyer is expected to make a new application to the court next week to expedite the hearing. He explained that even though the EC has carried out the nomination process, the election would not proceed if the court accepts the affidavit application. On Thursday, Judicial Commissioner Ros Mawar Rosin rejected Aziz's application for an interim injunction after finding that Aziz did not suffer from any irreparable harm as he could still participate in the by-election. 3 Army personnel were injured after the Army helicopter they were on was forced to make an emergency landing at Camp Mahkota Kluang in Johor. A statement from the Army Communications Cell confirmed that the incident occurred at 1:35 a.m. on Friday involving an Agusta A109H aircraft. The incident, which occurred during a night flight training session for the Aviation Basic Officers course at the Kluang Airfield, involved 3 crew members consisting of a helicopter trainer, a course trainee and a quartermaster. All the crew involved were conscious and the preliminary results of the medical examination have identified several injuries including spinal fractures. Despite the severity of the injuries, it is learned that all crew members are in stable condition and were taken to the Encik Besar Haji Kalsem Hospital Kluang for further treatment. The communications cell further stated that the Army has temporarily grounded all of its concerned helicopters subject to rectification and one-time inspections to restore flying status of these aircraft immediately. The Army will also convene a board of inquiry to identify the cause of the incident. The Olympic Council of Malaysia, OCM, has taken full responsibility for the controversy over the design of the national contingent's attire for the Paris Olympics and said it will issue a redesign of the outfit. Its president, Tan Sri Nurza Zakaria, acknowledged that the athletes' official attire for the Games, launched on Sunday, has not been well received by the public. In a statement on Friday, Nurza expressed regret for the oversight and assured the public of their commitment to address the issue. He said OCM will collaborate with Yonex to improve the attire's design, ensuring it represents the nation's status and meet the people's expectations. In particular, Nurza said he has asked for the OCM logo to be restored to the outfit and for the Jalur Gemilang emblazoned on it to bear the actual colours of the national flag. Addressing concerns about the logo, featuring the waving Malaysian flag and 5 Olympic rings, he explained that it adheres to the guidelines of the International Olympic Committee, IOC. According to the conditions set by the IOC, the 5-colour version is to be used on a white background, while a monochrome or single-colour version is used for contrast on other coloured backgrounds. He also explained that the current kit shows a gold version of the Jalur Gemilang, which the design team thought would best symbolise the contingent's aspirations to bring home Malaysia's first ever Olympic gold medal. The national contingent's attire was unveiled almost a week ago in Kuala Lumpur to mixed reactions, with several people calling it ugly and uninspiring. Fans also criticised the launching event, saying that it was presented to the public in a haphazard manner, merely piggybacking on the International Olympic Day celebration. The debate over the attire has also gone viral on social media platforms on a global scale. Regent of Johor, Tunku Mahkota Ismail, graced the 100th anniversary celebration of the Johor Causeway that links Johor and Singapore. The historic moment was marked with a simple yet significant ceremony symbolising Malaysia and Singapore's enduring diplomatic relations. The historic ceremony took place for 10 minutes beginning at 8:55 a.m. on the Johor Causeway, which is considered one of the busiest border crossings in the world. During the event, 100 pigeons were also released to symbolise the 100th anniversary of the Causeway. His Royal Highness also witnessed an exchange of souvenirs between the Johor government, represented by Menteri Besar Dato' Onn Hafiz Ghazi, and the Singapore government, represented by its Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan, to mark a century of good relations between the two countries.
Ia akan mengukuhkan lagi persaudaraan dan juga semangat kejiranan di antara Singapura, Malaysia dan juga Johor, insyaAllah. Ia sangat signifikan untuk warga Johor, Malaysia dan Singapura. Sebab itu kita mengambil kesempatan untuk menjayakan program pada pagi ini.
The celebration continued with the delegations from both countries proceeding to visit the exhibition on the 100th celebration of the Causeway at the Johor Figures Museum in Bukit Senyum and later to a similar exhibition at the Woodlands Civic Centre in Singapore. The 1,056-metre-long Johor Causeway was the first land route opened to connect Malaysia and Singapore in 1924, followed by the Malaysia-Singapore Second Link in 1998. An estimated 350,000 travellers go back and forth between the two countries every day using various types of motor vehicles and trains on the causeway, which also houses the pipeline that supplies raw water to Singapore. Peru rocked by a major earthquake. News from the foreign front when we return.
Terbaru ditonton.
Aku akan jadi lebih hebat pada hari final ni. Aku akan pastikan aku main kat sini.
Takkanlah buat cengkalah, jelah!
Khalid ke siapa ke batang sini lawan aku dulu. Tak apa kau lek-lek apa kau? Sepak bola pun aku yang ajar tau.
Muat turun dan layan tonton sekarang. Semua favourite anda di sini.
Sabtu lagi padu bila kita lepak sambil layan cerita pilihan di TV3. Bisu 1 Jun. Minky 8 Jun. Jubah dari Mekah 15 Jun. Bila tiba saatnya 22 Jun. Kau Langit, Aku Laut 29 Jun. Stand by okey depan TV jam 2 petang di cerita pilihan TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui tonton.
Suspek utama lah iaitu Imadi.
Encik Riyad tahu ke pasal hubungan Syahrini dengan Imadi? Tapi tuan dah tahu kan pasal benda ni?
And Syahrini as a sugar baby. Menarik kan?
Inilah masalah kau ni. Kau kena berani sikit. Oh, tapi soalan saya tak pandai pun. Sikit je saya cakap.
Setakat ini, suspek masih belum ditahan.
Cik Zafran.
Metro Crime Series. Khamis hingga Sabtu 9 malam. Di Lestari TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui tonton.
Welcome back. The Foreign Ministry, through the Malaysian Embassy in Lima, Peru, is closely monitoring the earthquake that struck off the country's southern coast early on Friday. Wisma Putra in a statement said the embassy is actively communicating with local authorities to gather detailed information about the impact of the earthquake. It added Malaysian citizens in the affected regions are advised to remain vigilant and adhere to the guidance and updates provided by local authorities. Earlier, the South American country was hit with an earthquake of 7.2 magnitude at Central Coast, raising an initial magnitude rating soon after the quake was reported. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Centre said hazardous tsunami waves are forecast for some coasts, but later announced that the threat had passed. Democratic US President Joe Biden and his Republican rival Donald Trump have squared off in the first debate of the 2024 United States presidential race, seeking to pull ahead in a matchup that has so far been in a dead heat.
If they just paid 24%.
Despite delivering the opening salvo in Thursday's event, Biden, however, struggled to articulate his points at several moments, appearing to fumble for his words.
We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, childcare, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Meanwhile, Trump took the opportunity to redirect the conversation at several points to Biden's perceived weaknesses and jabbed the president for being incoherent.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Trump also bragged about the state of the economy during his term, saying everything was good under his presidency.
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. We've Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary.
The debate, which took place at the CNN News Network's studios in Atlanta, Georgia, marked the first time since October 2020 that two candidates met on the debate stage. It provided the first opportunity for voters to evaluate the two candidates side by side ahead of November's presidential election. Israel's military on Friday continued its attacks in the Gaza Strip, killing dozens of Palestinians in northern area where it had declared the command structure of Hamas dismantled months ago. The operation in Shujaya on the edge of Gaza City caused numerous casualties, which witnesses and medics said began on Thursday in the houses. Meanwhile, Gaza's civil defense reported 3 of its medics were killed by Israeli aircraft and 12 others wounded while they carried out rescue efforts in central Bureji refugee camp. Witnesses said residents in Gaza City are currently running through the streets in terror, with dead and the wounded left lying on the ground. To date, at least 37,765 Palestinians have been killed and 86,429 were wounded in Israel's war on Gaza since October 7th. Over in Slovakia, at least 7 people were killed and 5 were injured after a train travelling from Prague to Budapest collided with a bus on Thursday. Officials said some 200 people were aboard the international train when the accident took place shortly after 5 p.m. local time in the town of Novi Zamki. Meanwhile, 9 people were on the bus at the time of the collision, and all those who died had been travelling on the vehicle. It was reported that the train engine caught fire after the crash, while the bus was badly damaged and broke into 2 parts. An investigation is underway to establish the cause of the accident, with some reports saying the flashing lights and barriers at the level crossing had been out of action following a recent storm. Nunez leads Uruguay to victory. Sports when we come back.
Musim ke-7 yang lebih mencabar, penyamar yang lebih licik, penyanyi yang lebih hebat, misi yang sama, penyamar yang berbeza. I Can See Your Voice Malaysia, musim ke-7.
Get ready, ladies. It's time to shatter the stereotype. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smiles. This talk show is all about you. Catch Women Talk every Saturdays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Stream also on Tonton.
आपकी हल्दी कहाँ है? छुट्टी चुनकरी रोके! बोलिए ना ज्योति जी, कौन है चुड़ैल? बताइए। ये सुरंग कहाँ है? कहाँ जा सकती है? अगर दूसरी शादी नहीं कर सकते।
बेवकूफ लड़की, उसने तुम्हारी मांग में कैमरा फिट किया था।
शत्रु को बचाना होगा।
Ish Kinasta Nagmane, Minggu akhir 4 petang di Sonia TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
And we're back with sports football, the 2024 Copa America. Liverpool's forward Darwin Nunez scored in his 7th straight international match, putting Uruguay on the verge of a Copa America quarter-final after beating Bolivia 5-0 on Friday. The La Celeste got on the front foot after Facundo Pellistri opened the scoring with a close-range header in the 8th minute. Nunes then doubled the lead in the 21st minute with his 10th goal in his last 7 games for Uruguay. In the second half, Maximiliano Araujo tucked in his second goal of the tournament 13 minutes from time, before Real Madrid's Federico Valverde scored with a low finish 4 minutes later. Substitute Rodrigo Bentancur then completed the 5-0 rout by heading the ball home in the 89th minute with his first touch. With the victory, Marcel Bielsa's side is now guaranteed a berth in the last 8, while Bolivia will be heading home early. In another match, the United States' hope of qualifying for the knockout stage hangs by a thread after Panama shocked the host nation in a dramatic 2-1 victory. The game turned into a moment of madness in the 18th minute after American winger Timothy Weah was sent off for striking Panama's Roderick Miller in the face. The host nation managed to find the lead after Folarin Balagun's screamer found the net in the 22nd minute. Minutes later, Panama got back on level terms after Caesar Blackman's strike went past US's goalkeeper Matt Turner. With 7 minutes remaining, Jose Fajardo swept in an emphatic finish from Abdiel Ayarza's low cross to secure the 2-1 victory for Panama. With this result, the US will need to beat Paraguay next to have a chance to advance in the last 8. On to tennis, the 2024 Rothsey International. American Taylor Fritz continued his pursuit of a third Rothsey International title after downing Chinese qualifier Shang Juncheng in a straight-set victory. The two-time champion had a shaky start in the first set, but he rallied to win 7-6, fending off Shang's determined efforts in the tiebreaker. In the second set, after exchanging points back and forth, the world number 13 clinched the victory as Shang's forehand went wide, sealing the set 7-6. Fritz, who captured the event in 2019 and 2022, won 50 of 54 first serve points and racked up 20 aces to win the match in 1 hour 46 minutes. He will next face Australian Alexander Vukic in the semi-finals. 2 Colombians charged over 7 million ringgit heist. The details after this short break.
Selamat datang ke jamuan Shaloms suara. Hidangan bermula.
Aduh, Atika, aku macam menyanyi. Suara saya pakai ini.
Takkanlah suara BIMBO ni.
Radio pa. Ini confirm awet. No, abang sadok. Habis tu suara siapa? Aku melari.
5 sebab anda perlu menonton cerita Rama TV3 Jun ini. Pertama, ketabahan hidup bermadu.
Betul ke cara unik?
Kedua, penyesalan tidak berpenghujung.
Mak.
Ketiga, niat yang disalah erti.
Manusia ke Allah?
Keempat, misteri sebuah kehilangan.
You suka Daniel kan?
Kelima, Cerita Rama TV3, satu destinasi untuk semua telefilm hebat kegemaran anda dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Di lorong ini, kezaliman tidak mengenal simpati.
Maknya main lah.
Lorong ini juga menjadi saksi kisah silamnya.
Mujago tika molek-molek. Tahu apa nak buat kan? Jangan sampai kena tangkap.
Kau kena janji dengan aku satu benda.
Cawkit, Sabtu ini, 8.30 malam. Di Wayang Hujung Minggu TV9, juga di saluran Astro 149 dan stream melalui Tonton di Smart TV.
Welcome back. The Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court has set July 30th for the submission of hotel CCTV footage and forensic analysis documents in the case of Israeli Avitan Shalom, who is accused of firearms trafficking and possession of 200 rounds of ammunition. The decision was made by Judge Norina Zainul Abidin in granting the prosecution's request. Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Mustafa P. Kunyalam informed the Sessions Court judge that the prosecution has handed over the majority of the documents to the accuser's lawyer. The prosecution requested for a mention date within a month to provide all the documents required to the defence in preparation for the trial. Shalom's lawyer, Naran Singh, confirmed this and did not object to the time frame requested by the prosecution. The court then scheduled July 30th for further mention and handover of the remaining documents before the 9-day trial set to commence on September 30th. On April 12, the 38-year-old Israeli man claimed trial to 2 firearms-related charges. For the first charge, he was accused of having ammunition in his possession without a permit, while for the second charge, Shaloms allegedly trafficked 6 firearms. Previously, the trial had been scheduled for September 30th and October 1st to 3rd and 7th to 11th. The prosecution said it expects to call 20 witnesses to testify in the case. 2 Colombian men were charged in the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court for breaking into a businessman's house and stealing 7 million ringgit in cash and valuables last month. 39-year-old Yeson Andres Rocha Garzon and 22-year-old Julian David Sernapena, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge. The duo were accused of breaking into the residence of businessman 45-year-old Indra Izwan Yusuf in Bukit Damansara on the night of May 31st. They were charged under Section 457 of the Penal Code, which carries a maximum penalty of 5 years imprisonment, which can extend to 14 years when theft is involved, as well as a fine. Judge Azrul Abdullah denied bail and scheduled case mention for August 5th. On Thursday, the media reported that the arrest of the 2 men led to the police apprehending 8 members of a burglary gang led by a Latin American national. The 6 foreign men and 2 local women aged between 20 and 40 years were arrested in Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok and Thailand. The Customs Department discovered 2 packages containing 80 compressed blocks of cannabis, which were left on top of rocks along Kampung Pulau Beach in Simpang Empat, Perlis last month. Perlis Customs Director Ismail Hashim said the move is believed to be the latest tactic being used by a syndicate that employs small boats to collect and deliver the drugs and returns to a neighbouring country after completing the delivery. According to Hashim, a team from the Kuala Perlis Customs Marine Enforcement Branch conducted the raid at 7:30 a.m. and found 2 packages containing cannabis.
Jadi pegawai kita datang tu dalam keadaan dah nampak dia dah bergerak ke laut. Ada dalam kelibat ada dalam 2 orang dalam sampan tu, dan jauh lagi ada 1 bot lagi. Okey. Dan kita dapati memang tiada pihak yang mengambil lah dadah tersebut.
He added that the team staked out the area, but no arrests were made as no one came to retrieve the packages. The drugs are believed to have an estimated value of 262,477 ringgit. The case is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Nightline draws to a close this time around, and before we leave, let's take a look as artists created life-size wild animal puppets that will embark on a 20,000-kilometer journey from Central Africa to Northern Europe to symbolize migration caused by climate change. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for tuning in and have a great weekend.